This is a 1963 Maserati Sebring 3500 GTI. It's beautiful, it's rare, and right now it might be actively damaging its own engine. Because of a quirk in the Lucas fuel injection, every time we start this car, excess fuel is dumped directly into the oil sump. If I don't service this right now, we aren't just looking at poor running or a bad idle.
Oh my god!
We're looking at a potential 50,000 pounds engine rebuild. This isn't just a routine service, it's a rescue mission. I've been recently asked when you'd see more of this fabulous Maserati motor, so today we're doing exactly that.
Oh my god! That's blue!
After properly smoking out the garage, it's time to take Corto out for a spin and warm up the engine. That way the oil will drain more easily. While researching the Lucas fuel injection system fitted to this Maserati, I came across something that caught my attention. According to Maserati specialists, repeated short runs can allow excess fuel from the starting process to find its way into the engine oil. Normally, this isn't a problem. Once the engine reaches the operating temperature, any fuel contamination gradually evaporates away.
It just died!
But if the car is only started, moved around for a few minutes and then switch off again, the oil might never get hot enough. Over time, that excess fuel can build up in the sump, thinning the oil and reducing its ability to protect the engine. And that's when I realized something. For years, that's exactly how we've been using Corto, and that's why this oil service suddenly felt much more important.
We need one for this, and here is the oil filter. I guess, maybe. Let me show you how it looks underneath. To hide the whole ramp from me.
The oil has a strong smell of petrol, but fortunately it isn't excessively thin.
He's tickled. My God.
Next, it's time to take a closer look at the oil filter.
I feel like a serving waiter. Right, that's all good.
Oh, that's a good one.
It might blow up.
Oh wait, it has seals on both sides.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter which way you put it round.
It has spring.
Yeah,
It goes right there. And
yeah, it has those. We don't want to lose those bits.
it also has an O-ring here, but we have a full set. We're still waiting for this to cool down because it's quite hot and we want to clean it in petrol. And then we're gonna put it back. Okay. Managed. I forgot to record this. Anyway, I put the plug in.
And you're about to see the reason why I usually don't wear gloves. Luckily, the casting didn't break this time, so I took the gloves off for a better grip.
Okay, that should be enough.
Well, while we wait for the oil to go all the way in the sump, we'll try to take the plugs out just to see. We never look at the plugs on this car, so let's see. I'd say that's good. Oh, no, it's just here. Look what I have for you. Treat.
With this Lucas systems, a little fuel in the oil at startup is the fact of life, but Corto was drowning in it. With fresh oil and a clean filter, there is only one thing left to do. Start it and find out whether we'd caught the problem in time. There it is. Oil pressure is immediate and no smoke, which means the engine is healthy.
Looks good. Oh dear. I think it way all the way here? Really? Do you have more?
No, but 10 litres is not an insignificant amount.
Now let's see what 250 Italian horses feel like on the open road. Okay, what I do now? I pull the chair first. Testing first. Oh, there's the lighter. This must be the choke. Okay. Oh my god, the battery is so low. No! Yep, you only get one chance. Hey game, it's called Find the Battery. After a few seconds of searching, we remember the Maserati's battery was hidden in the boot behind a painted aluminium panel. Very elegant and very Italian. There she is.
There's a bloody cutout switch and we didn't know that was there.
You didn't know?
Well, no. Although those battery conditioners are all right.
Shall I go for it?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, let's try again. Of course, this is just a temporary solution until we have the new battery delivered. The Maserati Sebring was a two-door 2+2 coupe manufactured by Maserati from 62 until 68. It's based on the Maserati 3500. The Sebring was aimed to the American Gran Turismo market and named after Maserati's 1957 racing victory at the 12th hour of Sebring. The Sebring could accelerate to 60 miles per hour in approximately 8.5 seconds and can achieve a top speed approaching 140 miles per hour. Despite its impressive performance, the Sebring 3500 GTI is not a lightweight sports car in the classical sense. It is clearly a luxurious grand touring car with a comfortable and well-appointed two-door interior. Underlying the steel body and giving it strength was an all-new tubular steel frame, which also supported the independent dual wishbone front suspension, semi-elliptical rear leaf springs, and four-wheel disc brakes. As you can see, I don't have a headrest because real men don't need headrests. It's a macho car and the passenger, who usually was the mistress, had one. Well, thankfully, it looks like we caught it in time. The oil did smell of petrol, but fortunately, it wasn't excessively thin, and there were no obvious signs that our little routine had caused any serious damage. So for now, it seems the old Maserati has escaped unscathed. Of course, there is only one real way to find out what a car like this is truly capable of. I'm very curious to see how this Maserati would handle a run up Prescott Hill climb, and I think that's something we should definitely do. But before we get to that, there is another adventure waiting for us. So next week, we're heading somewhere a little further from home. I'll see you on the Volcano.